Welcome to the Dawg Chug. Roger and Ed, how's it going tonight?
I'll start, Ed. You know what? It's going great. It's Christmas beer in July night here at Dawg Chug. Basically because I've been at a couple cookouts and whatever, and I ran out of beer. I didn't realize, and all I had was some Christmas ale and so it's and then I noticed it's a special occasion. It's Christmas beer in July, and Andy's sucking out of a water bottle again on Dawg Chug. What's the deal?
Just trying to rein it in, man. You know, sometimes you got to slow down.
Are you on the first step? Are you on the first step? Is that what it is? You're on the first
No,
step?
no. I had a gout outbreak, and I'm still getting over everything. So I'm trying to.
This is the Dawg Chug. No, this is the Dawg Chug, Andy, and it's training camp. They're in Greenbrier, for God's sakes.
I don't
And
think
we're
you
drinking.
get Ed shit for not drinking. By the way,
I do. This
Ed's
is
Mountain Dew.
Right.
He's a Mountain Dew merchant.
I'm a water guy now.
All right, drink your water, Alice. I'm gonna have Christmas ales, I guess, by myself tonight. I don't know.
I don't have Christmas ale.
Well, you don't have to have Christmas ales. Have some alcohol. I'm bad peer pressure. I'm the guy you don't want to be with when you're getting ready to leave with your keys.
Thank you, Roger. But I am good. I'm gonna be good for keep drinking water.
All right.
Are you okay with that, Ed?
No, I'm not okay with it. But you know what? The show must go on. And you know what, Andy? I think what you're calling for is something that one of our guests, the main guest tonight, he inspired this segment. Shout out to him, my guy. I was down with him for a time, but now he's on the Dawg Chug. But without further ado, it's time for my favorite segment. I think that's what somebody heard, maybe a buffalo, but here we go.
Wait. Before we go break Ed news.
Yeah.
I feel bad now.
Why?
I'm making Roger drink alone.
You are.
I thought you gave, yeah.
I haven't had alcohol in 9 days now, so I'm a little I'm jonesing, but
you stopped break Ed news, Andy. You must indulge in some alcohol.
You broke into break Ed news with breaking news.
Yeah, that's right. It's breaking news. What if I drink one beer?
It's a start.
You know what, man? I'll settle for one at this point because it's been 2 shows. And before the 2 shows, you were gone on your excursions. You're Andy in the US, instead of Paul in the UK on your trips. And we haven't seen you so long. And I haven't seen you. You haven't been mean to me once. And when you're drinking, you'd be mean to me. Yeah, it's just not the same.
All right. Calm down over there. I'll have one fucking beer. It's fine. One's not going to kill me, right?
No. I hope not.
No.
I don't know.
I got this.
Captain Black Liver.
Whoa.
Got this thing.
No.
So.
Where's mine?
Wow.
I usually drink 3 Natter Days and 3 Coors.
Get that on the big screen, Ed.
Yeah. Oh, here. Yeah. Well, if I knew how to.
We got to get a producer in there. There you go.
Yeah, look at that.
It's going to take a while. Ed, do you want to just do your break-in news?
Well, put them on the second biggest screen.
Oh, well. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll fill this up, and then we'll hit it. That's right. It's time. This is in Columbus with your Dawg Chug. Breaking news. Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance's search history revealed that his favorite football player was Tim Couch and his favorite team, the Dolphins. The searches could have uncovered much worse for the Southwest Ohio-born Vance. He could be uncovered as a Bengals fan. Yikes. The Cleveland Guardians actually made a fucking move. They acquired the Lane train from the Nationals. Maybe Washington, D.C. can actually give instead of take. What a change-up. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski revealed that he is maintaining play-calling duties. Stefanski also said that he is maintaining boring press conferences that can convey absolutely nothing. And finally, many people are outraged over the Olympic Games opening ceremony because they believe it to be offensive. In stark contrast, the Browns' opening week 18-game winless streak between 2005 and 2021 was not as offensive. Maybe that was the problem. And this is Ed in Columbus with your Dawg Chug.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Wow, that was a foursome right
That was
there.
for Mac. That was for Mac, and I knew he had also had some more to fill up there, so I had to get one more in there because, as you can see, it's
well done.
It's getting
Well done. I think he's close.
He's getting close.
Are you going to have that one beer all night, nursing it, or?
Yeah, I mean, but hold on. I haven't had a drink in 9 days. 9 fucking days. So we gotta spice this up a little bit.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, he's not done.
Whoa, hold on a second. Hold on.
Let's put some booze in it.
Yeah.
He's going to be yelling at me by 9:24.
Get that in there, Andy.
Let's see here.
Wow, look at that concoction.
Oh, jeez.
So much for the first step, right out the window.
Whatever. Okay.
All right. I think before you do that, Andy, Roger, I think we should all say a prayer for Andy here.
A little straw here.
You got a straw. Well, that's.
And we're going to stir it up because you got to be responsible when you drink, you know?
Right.
You
right.
do. It's a drink like a gentleman. Mix it up. You want a cherry or something for that?
No.
Well, before you get to that, shout out to MC Lawrence.
Okay.
Roger, he says you're looking good. MC Lawrence. And
It's like a hillbilly Manhattan.
also, howdy doody time from our Barking Browns compadres.
Hey, look at MC. Hey, MC, we look good. I'm going to tell you this why Andy's doing his drink. Ed and I have put together. You ready?
No, I'm not going to chug this. This is
Oh,
the cool thing is when you pour this all in, you got a lot of foam to deal with, but with the straw, you don't have to deal with the foam because you drink it from the bottom. It's genius.
I like the foam.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're having a beer and you're drinking it out of a giant sippy cup. But it's Dawg Chug, and I hope you're drunk by 9:30. And let's see what happens.
I'm taking the cyber truck out to after the show, so it's gonna be perfect. If I get pulled over, it's gonna be like, officer, I had one beer.
That's factual, kind of.
Turn on my podcast.
Hopefully, he's not a viewer of the show, or I'm fucked.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
We don't have to worry about that.
By the way, this is a pre-recorded show. We actually taped it back on Tuesday. Just putting that out there. All right. And guys, make sure you don't say anything relevant from Wednesday or Thursday. I don't want to spoil. So, Roger, I think you got something going, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
I want to start the Dawg Chug update. All right, here we go. The highly anticipated Summer Olympic Games began in France last week. World athletes gathered for the first time since the lockdowns of the 2020 Tokyo and Beijing Games due to COVID and Wutan Fuji. The opening ceremonies drew much criticism for the opening performance that church leaders and conservative politicians claimed a sequence depicting the biblical scene of the Last Supper was offensive and a mockery of Christianity. The opening ceremony's artistic director, Thomas Jolly, denied the allegations 3 separate times before the rooster crowed. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
NBC drew 28.6 million viewers for the opening ceremony, and their broadcast team featured host Mike Tirico with co-host Peyton Manning and Kelly Clarkson. NBC's attempt to broaden viewership with the Hall of Famer and the American Idol failed miserably. At one point, Manning rambled on about his play call wristband, as Clarkson lackadaisically described the ring simply as magical, twice. When asked to evaluate Celine Dion's performance, Clarkson said, "I actually can't talk." At that point, Nielsen rating shows 28 of the original 28.6 million viewers turned back into the broadcast.
Wow. You really nailed those slides, Ed. Good job.
Did he? I didn't want to watch.
It wasn't as bad as what Andy's portraying right now, Roger. We'll review the tape. Like Hugh Jackson, we'll review the tapes, and we'll be better. We'll be better.
Yeah, we'll definitely get better, but when Roger watches that tomorrow, oof.
It's not that.
All right, I'm going to fuck up my own slide, so
There you go.
hold on one sec. All right. On practice this week, what was it? Monday, Deshaun Watson threw a pass from the end zone and ended practice early. You know what, Roger? Just relax. His shoulder's fine. He just boned up and decided a massage would be better use of his time since his contract is guaranteed. What the fuck are they going to do? And that is the Dawg Chug update. And you got
That's a good update.
Do I have what?
You have a top 10?
I do have a top 10, but Roger, I just want to say this because I know Andy's trying to worry you right now. When I cut the clip and we put it on the Dawg Chug X tomorrow, and it's going to be huge, you're going to be happy with the results.
All right. I had my producer, man. My man.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
Andy, you're not going to look at it anyways. Don't worry about it, Roger. Don't worry about it. But we do have a top 10 tonight. That's right. And what's recently been going on in the news, obviously, is the Cleveland Browns and one Deshaun Watson. So tonight we have the top 10 reasons why Deshaun Watson will block you on X. He will block you, and I am blocked.
He's soft. That's it.
Well, he might be right for blocking me. But number 10, mention Joe Flacco in any capacity. Basically, if you go wacko for Flacco, he will sack you. So,
nice.
Number 9, bring up the guaranteed money and the number of games he hasn't played in. Number 8, tag Watson and don't say next season will be like a movie. Because it's got to be like a movie. If I see all those cuts on X, and it's a movie, all right. Number 7, insinuate that he is like R. Kelly because he paid people off. I don't see nothing wrong with a little pain, no say. Number 6. Thank you, Andy.
That was my
If
jam,
you don't
man.
mention the second half against Baltimore in all of your posts, because it was 14 of 14, you got to mention that, or Watson will give you the block. Number 5. If you follow Roger first. That's so true. That's probably why I got blocked. I follow Roger. Number 4, post that the real number 4 will always be Phil Dawson. Number 3, call Quincy Avery a bitch, which he is.
That's why he got blocked.
I think that's what got me blocked.
Number 2, use the words happy ending even after a Browns win. Doesn't seem fair. And the number 1 reason why Deshaun Watson will block you on X is say that it's bullshit that Watson says it's tough to block out the bullshit. And those are tonight's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good ending to a great top
Ed.
10. That was good.
Thank you, sir.
Good job, Ed.
So, do you guys want to know how it's going? My little water bottle here. It tells
Where you at
tells
on
you
it?
where you are.
Oh.
So I have surpassed. Let's see.
Oh, you can back up now, yeah.
I've
Pull it
surpassed
back.
Drink Up.
Okay.
You're fast, drink up.
Just past Keep Going. So I'm
Wow,
a little
it's
past
got-
Keep Going.
No, those are analytics and metrics that you got to pay attention to right there.
All right. Well, thank you for indulging us with our little Dawg Chug updates. We have a fantastic guest coming back from the Dawg Chug, but it has been a hiatus. Ed, why has Max the Buffalo not been on Dawg Chug in so long? The people want to know.
Oh, wow. Well, it wasn't because of me. You know what? We go back, like I said, we were down with each other, a couple years ago, and we had quite a little feud. But I will say this. He got me a few times. Mac is a guy, we call him Max, we call him Mac, but he is a guy that puts out great content on Dawg Pound Daily. He is a guy that just, every day is putting up new stats and facts and things that even makes my mind think differently. And I have a brilliant mind. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest of honor, Mac the Buffalo tonight. Mac, welcome to the Dawg Chug.
Heyo, what's up, guys?
Mac, welcome back to the Dawg Chug. I asked Ed to talk about you, and he talked about himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ed's going to do what Ed's going to do. But I will have to say this, a little bit surprised by the Dawg Chug. It's kind of interesting because I thought usually Andy would be the person kind of sending me the information, but I'm on Twitter last night, and who sends me the link to the show? A day ahead of time, and it's none other than Ed in Columbus. So I have nothing bad to say about Ed today, especially, the fact that he was organized today and extremely professional, well, outside of the top 10, that was woof. But, I got nothing bad to say, and I'm happy to be back. Dawg Chug is my favorite podcast.
I'm glad because I thought you were mad from the tailgate last year. I ate the last smash burger and you wanted it. And I thought you Ross's smash burger. It was the last one on the tray and you wanted it. I went in and got it. And I thought you were mad over that. So I'm glad that's cleared up.
I'm going to be honest with you. I completely forgot. pretty much anything that I consumed that day. But that's neither here nor there.
By the way, I've just reached the stage of whoa. Keep chugging.
Wow, keep chugging.
I think that's
Mac.
It's literally, this is why she got this for me, which is awesome. I've got a great one.
That's great. Mac, you're here for a monumental night. Andy's drinking for the first time in 9 days, and he'll be drunk by at least 10:30. He'll be drunk. So
yeah, I don't know how he made it 9 days. Congratulations on what probably seemed like a lifetime sobriety for you.
It was tough. The first first days were rough. And then the next couple of months after that, oof. But I'm here. I survived. And now I'm just having one drink because I'm responsible. And it's going well.
Andy, can you read the comment from Lysandra? I can't read. I can't see that. My eyes are coming.
It says, Ed making Dawg Chug great again. So, thanks. Lysandra, great to have Ed as a sponsor on your amazing podcast. Bougie Sports. Ed, how much are you paying them to say nice things?
Ed, what's the deal? What are you doing?
Under a certain, I believe if there's a certain amount, I don't have to disclose those contributions. You know, we are in an election year. I think we're right. I don't want people. Yeah, Andy.
All right. Well, Mac, I love everything you've been doing. You've really been out there, man of the people, bringing up amazing Brown stats that I always love reading, and you always do it in a way that kind of, instead of sitting there making an argument, you actually bring facts, and that's just the best. So excited for preseason to start, to get to the games, to see you continue to grow. But as you're aware, you're a Cleveland fan, so you've been watching this amazing Guardians season. Are we going to have an amazing Brown season?
Yeah, no, I fully believe it. Now, with that being said, I do have extreme high expectations for this team this year. Bare minimum, make a playoff game. But with that being said, Kevin Stefanski, he's still calling the plays. I absolutely love his scheme. I'm glad that there's a certain player that's not here anymore, and his QB package is no longer part of the offense. So that's an amazing, thing to see. But a lot of guys returning healthy, and like I put out today, with as many injuries as they had, and the fact that they started 5 different quarterbacks, they were still 10th in the league in scoring. So the fact that people say, "Hey, Kevin Stefanski, he should be calling plays," well, why not?
Yeah,
that's So I'm very much excited for this season.
That is a very good question.
Well, Mac, what I was excited about was, and I like your set about the Browns offense and the 10th in production and touchdowns. But what I liked about it was the 39 days, 39. I believe, you know what I'm saying? When to me, that's the genius of posts out there, is when you can find something as obscure as that and put that out there. Now, I know the other day, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, and I'm not going to, rat out anybody, but I believe somebody stole your post. And I saw the great content you were putting out, and I believe somebody kind of ran with it and everything. And hey, that just shows you're doing great things like that, so.
Well, here's what I'll say about that. It's not the first time that it's happened. It's not the last time that it's going to happen. It's the internet. I don't have copyright on it, so somebody's going to take something and run with it. If it's the post that you're referring to, I don't want to out of here.
No, I'm not.
Specifically because he has tagged me in the past, and I'm just sure that he forgot this time around. And he's a great account. I do like his content, so I have nothing wrong with that. But there's also been times where, and talking about completely other people here, but there have been times where certain accounts have stolen things off of me, and I've rightfully called them out only just for them to just keep going back and forth, and then it ends up with them dragging my name through the mud, and then now a big Cleveland account has me blocked on Twitter. So it's just one of those things where I just have to focus on what I do, because if I don't put out great stats every day, or try to the best of my ability to put out the best content that I can do, I'm not doing what I want to do in life. So I got to keep going.
That's such a healthy attitude. And I just want to say, Yeah, it's a healthy attitude that you have there. I love that. And I mean, if you are going to do it, at least create a burner account. I mean, it's fucking obvious.
Yeah.
Idiots. Anyway, sorry, Roger. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had to get that in there.
No, that's fine. I said, Mac, here's what I listen, got to be 3 years ago where I want you to talk about the front seven a little bit because I'm all about the defense this year. I think we have elite talent on all three levels, but the reconstruction of that front seven from when you were standing on your soapboxes up until what they have in that room today. I just remember your blood pressure. You didn't look good. You weren't eating, and I'm glad they straightened it out because I was worried about you.
Yeah, and it was I still remember one of the biggest hits that I had on when I started my blog way back in the day, the Cleveland Stampede. The biggest hit piece there was the Browns will not win a Super Bowl until they upgrade the defensive tackle position. Well, they have, and even last season, the first season with Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, it's completely the scheme also was a big part of it. But the way that they transformed the defensive tackle position just in the span of a year was crazy to see. And it was free agent spending that I really haven't seen in the Andrew Berry era, especially at one position. And it was really great to see. And even this past offseason, they brought back Shelby Harris. They brought back Maurice Hurst. They upgraded over Jordan Elliott. Because, for a long time, we always thought, hey, is Andrew Berry ever going to give up on his draft picks? Well, it's been a couple years. He figured that Jordan Elliott isn't starter level, so we're not going to pay him anymore. That's fine. They went out and got Quentin Jefferson, one guy that I've been high on, that I've been trying to get the Browns to get for the past 2 years here, and he's finally in Cleveland. So it's going to be real interesting because – I count 5 locks here at the defensive tackle position. Dalvin Tomlinson, Quentin Jefferson, Shelby Harris, Mike Cole Jr., their second-round draft pick this year, and Mo Hurst. So there's a second-year player in Siaki Ika that I don't know if he's going to make it.
Who looks transformed, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no. And he has shout out to Nick Carnes for pointing it out a couple times here because I didn't really catch that, and I'm surprised that I didn't. But it's going to be an uphill battle for him. But I feel like is going to be the theme this training camp because there's an uphill battle for guys like this that were drafted in the Andrew Berry era, and it's not necessarily because they're bad, but it's just simply because they're in a crowded room. And they're not having that breakout season that they need to have to be the driving force of why they should make the 53. And it's
has to be your
see.
This has to be your Christmas. 2 years ago, you're pounding your fist every day, upgrade the defensive line, get the beef, get the players in here. And now we got too much talent where we got a second-year player that might not even make the team. This has to be one of the greatest things, obviously, besides seasonal success, but a great off-season success and kind of coming to fruition, Mac. You have got to be a kid in the candy store with no parental supervision around right now, my friend.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I'm a big guy in terms of making sure the trenches are stacked and then keeping both the offensive and the defensive, playbook simple. And with the defense that they have, that front seven, and including, the back four there, they can get away with just sending 4 and playing man coverage in the back end for most of the game. And it's awesome. It's really, really awesome to see because 2022 might have been the most frustrating that I've seen out of a Browns defense that I've been alive because it was, and I'm talking about even including, those early years, before they even had that official rebuild, right? Because you would see a guy like Myles Garrett and you would see him just absolutely taken out of a game, but somehow no one else could do something. Even Jadeveon Clowney, who was a Pro Bowler at one point, he decided to be a me guy, and he didn't want to be moved around, and he only wanted to play on certain downs, and it was just a whole thing. And I'm sitting to myself, and it's almost like with the roster around him in 2022, it was almost like we just wasted a year. But there's no point dwelling on the past, because this year is the defense's year. Will they pitch another shutout? Probably not, unless they face a team late in the year that's on their third quarterback like they did with Arizona. But
Nice.
They're still going to be a top 5 defense, and you can win in the NFL with a top 5 defense. And defense wins championships.
Nice.
Yeah, Mac, beautiful. Andy said before the show, we got about a 10-minute gap where we got nothing. I said, don't worry, I'll ask Mac to talk about defensive front seven. That's beautiful.
And look, it's very easy for you.
I know you love it. I know you love it, and you talk about it. You can go on about it. Sorry, Andy.
No. It's very easy to get Roger fired up when talking about the defense, but I'm sure you're well aware that Roger's been having some issues on social media when people, rev up on the quarterback. I've tried talking some sense into him, but you are much more eloquent than I am. So,
I'm trying to avoid
a chance. I want to see if, like, in 1 minute, you can explain. And look, no one knows if Deshaun Watson is going to be good this year. But Roger's saying it's 100% not going to happen. He's going to be terrible. So can you make a case in like a minute or less of why he should be not so dead set that this is going to be a failure? Why he should have a little bit of hope that this could be a great year for Deshaun Watson?
Well, Deshaun Watson doesn't have to be a superhuman to win. That plain and simple. Stefanski got it done with PJ Walker, and he can definitely get it done with at least an average Deshaun Watson. Everybody points to that second half Ravens game. He was 14 of 14. The immediate pushback is, well, he wasn't really throwing the ball deep, but he was taking what the defense gave him. And that was Deshaun's biggest problem last year. Everybody said he wasn't comfortable enough in the offense. Well, let's dive in deeper. Why did people say that he was looking like that? Because he was eyes all over the field, but he wasn't getting the ball out. The problem with Deshaun Watson since he came to Cleveland is that he's been holding the ball longer than most quarterbacks in the league. I believe he was second last year and third the year before in terms of in the pocket. But all he's got to do is get the ball out. You have the best yards after catch tight end in the game with David Njoku. You got a running back room that's pretty sufficed before Nick Chubb comes back. You re-signed Amari Cooper. You got Jerry Jeudy. Elijah Moore is your wide receiver 3. So to me, the offense is ramped up. And all Deshaun Watson has to do is just simply get rid of the ball.
Mac, I got a question for that.
Sure.
Is having last year's offense with Watson, were the plays, did they take too long to develop, or was he just holding on to the ball too long? And with this year with Ken Dorsey and this new offense that'll be mostly in the shotgun, and obviously, so will that help him get the ball out quicker? Basically, did the plays take too long to develop for somebody like Deshaun Watson, or was it a Watson problem last year?
I would say it's a little bit of both. Another part of it too is that thank you. Appreciate it. Another part of it too is that David Njoku wasn't involved a lot with Watson on the field, and I've talked about this before. Looking at his numbers when without Watson on the field the past 2 years, it's a staggering difference. And I believe that, and it was nice because I don't want to say that injuries are a good thing. But Deshaun Watson's injury made Kevin Stefanski step back a little bit, simplify everything, right? And one of the simple things that you could do in a passing offense is get your big target, usually a tight end, the ball. Get him the ball in space and see what happens. Well, he started doing that, and David Njoku exploded, literally had the best year in his career. I think that he's primed to even do better numbers next year because they see what he can do in the open field. He's running like a Clydesdale. Linebackers can't catch him. Some can't tackle him. And you're telling me, one defensive back is going to bring that man down? Maybe if you trip him. So, I really liked the Ken Dorsey bringing him in. Of course, I wrote an article about it before he got hired. I said he was the best choice, and I'm going to take my time to take another victory lap here. But, Ken Dorsey was the QB coach for Cam Newton in his MVP year. He was one of the reasons why Josh Allen took that next step. And everybody points out, well, he got fired mid-season, because the Bills' offense was just terrible. Josh Allen also turned it over, 9 times in that span? It's kind of hard to win when your QB is giving the ball away, either fumbling it or throwing it to the defense. So, I think there's a lot of good things that Ken Dorsey can bring, and the best part about it is Stefanski still has the last say. Now, it's a committee, and everybody goes, well, if it's a committee, well, why did you even leave Alex Van Pelt? Because he needed a voice in the room from a guy that knows mobile QBs. And Ken Dorsey knows mobile QBs. Because the biggest problem with this is not integrating Watson in the run game. Because Stefanski's already done that, and he's done a pretty good job of it. Outside of the injury that happened with Tennessee. But, the biggest problem, and you could see it especially, 2 years ago, when Watson was trying to scramble, the wide receivers didn't know.
Let's see, we're almost there.
My God.
Sorry.
Dude. Wow. But even 2 years ago, you would see Watson scramble, and the wide receivers wouldn't know what to do. So there's a lot of improvising that comes with mobile quarterbacks, And while it's great that Deshaun Watson has Houdini-like skills in the pocket and, can stay alive for that long, you also have to get rid of the ball. And that's probably the biggest problem with Deshaun Watson's game right now. And I do think that he's going to get better. Year 3 in the offense, because it's still Kevin Stefanski's offense. I don't care what everybody. It's going to look so much. No, it's not. It's still going to be bread and butter is the play action, right? It's what made Kevin Stefanski one of the best play callers in the league. Is his play action.
Hell yeah.
It's how he was winning games with a one-armed Baker Mayfield. He was winning games with Jacoby Brissett. P.J. Walker, who had the worst turnover margin of any quarterback since 2018, and he was winning games with that man. How was he doing it? Play action. Because that's his bread and butter.
It was a small sample size, though. I don't know that he would have won too many more.
Well, the only thing that bothers me about the whole PJ Walker Deshaun Watson thing.
Wait. We got to stop because we got to get Roger has to respond.
Oh.
We're doing a thing here.
Oh.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
I started talking so much. I completely lost it. That's all
Roger.
Sorry,
if
Roger.
anyone else had said all of this, you would call him Watson Warrior, and you would have bullied him on X. But you love Max. You actually do. I know you do. So when he says it, maybe some of it resonates. Maybe you hear it. So I want you to respond, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So do it eloquently, but he said a lot of positive things. He went in a lot of directions, but he did talk about Deshaun. How would you respond to the positivity that he's given off?
In order for Deshaun Watson to succeed, he has to play like you said, improvise, running around. Number one, he's fragile. He's China glass now. He's going to shatter. Number two, your offensive linemen, they don't know him. They still don't know him. Mahomes gets behind his offensive line. They got a feel for him. They know him. He hasn't played behind these guys. You know what? This is, and Matt, I want to talk front seven and defense with you all night long. But while you were talking, it's the Huntley jersey, 27. It's $40 cheaper now. It's 127 down from 169, and some fan can buy this for me because I'm not fucking buying it. But that's going to be, you know what? I'm entering every free jersey thing on X, and you get to pick a jersey, and I'm going to pick this one if they don't have a Koromoa one.
All right. So Roger's biggest complaint about our quarterback is that I guess mentally soft, is emotional, blocks people. Is there anything you could say that would off the field stuff that would make Roger think differently.
Well, I mean, look at any QB that's ever played for Cleveland. When has it ever been great for them in the news? Tim Couch was brain dead in the locker room.
Joe Flacco had a couple of weeks.
Well, okay, and that was because Mary Kay Cabot had a crush on him. If we're being honest, and I really hate to just call somebody out like that, but she was all about him since day one. And I mean, he's a handsome guy. I don't blame her at all. But even after the interceptions, everybody still jumped on him. When you're a quarterback here in Cleveland, I hate to say it, but you belong in two groups if you're a quarterback here in Cleveland. They either love you and they're going to name their kids after you, or they hate you and they want nothing but internet rage and possible physical threats.
Yeah,
so I don't know who this person is that keeps commenting, but you want to talk about some out of pocket stuff. I'm trying to focus on everything, and I just see it pop across my screen. I'm trying so hard.
Doing the Dawg Chug, we bring a diverse group of people that like to have fun, and some of our fans are assholes. What are you gonna do? All right. So, Roger, is there anything that he said that resonated, or you just agreed to disagree?
No, man. You know what? It's always gone back to the draft. When we were ready to draft that year, I was 100% Myles Garrett, and I really wanted Deshaun Watson with that second pick. And when he wanted to go number 1 overall to the Browns, or he wasn't going to go to the Senior Bowl, his ego, his just. There's nothing about him that I like. I just don't like the dude, man. And it goes back to then when he said, fuck you, Cleveland. I'm not going to go to the Senior Bowl and play for your coaches. I don't want you to draft. Then, of course, it backtracks and him and Hugh Jackson. I don't give a shit what he talked about with Hugh Jackson after that, and that's really where it started with me. And then, $230 million guaranteed. Well, I love you now, Cleveland. And that don't fly with me because I'm from Cleveland. And I don't give a shit, I don't think, you know what, man, he's got people paying people to block people on Twitter, and that's what he's worried about. He's worried about his perception, and he has these people just like, we can see with our eyes what he's done here. We don't need Garrett in the fucking on Saturday morning saying that he deserves as much time as Baker Mayfield deserved. That's complete bullshit. Baker Mayfield was a first-round draft pick. He deserved all 5 years. We gave Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed, plus all those draft picks. That means produce now, not within the next 5 years. I don't need. Dave pissed me off more than Watson does, to be honest with you. This guy's getting on the radio. Somebody gives him a job on the radio. It's fucking insane. When they say stuff like that, because it's not a football take, man. That is not a football take. And the dude just, to me, has no heart. He got no heart. And nothing will change that thought for me. I just don't think you got any heart. And if you don't have heart, you can have all the talent in the world.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a little feedback, obviously, Matt.
Gotcha. Sorry. Hey, hold on. Sorry, my dog's squeaking his foot.
I take the shit personal.
In terms of heart, I mean, he did play with a broken shoulder. It's so I mean, the contract is always going to be a thing that he gets criticized for. The man saw one of the best contracts for a player ever, and he took it. Yeah, so I can't really fault the guy there. In terms of what was going on with the Browns at the 2017 draft, I'm sorry, but if I was a quarterback, right, and I get first round status, I'm meeting with coaches, I'm getting interviews, right? If I stepped into an interviewing room with Hugh Jackson, yeah, I'd want to be drafted first overall, because that was the only reason why I would want to go to the Browns. A team that went 1-15 the year prior, and then you have some guy that acts like he's smarter than you, even though he has zero accolades to show for it. I mean, he was so bad that Carson Palmer was just like, hey, I get that I'm at the end of my career, but going anywhere else including back to Cincinnati, would be better than Blake for you.
I get it. But you know what? Baker Mayfield said, fuck it. I want to come there and I'm going to win. I'm going to turn it all around with Hugh Jackson in the room because he's got fucking hurt. And I'm not even a Baker, bro. I wanted Jameis Winston over him. Let me Google a Jameis Winston jersey and get one of those because I said I had enough with Mayfield. But Mayfield said, draft me number 1 because I will turn it around, because he's got hurt. And if the Browns did draft him at number 1 and went back and got him at 11, he'd come here with hurt. You know what I mean? The dude just.
What?
I think I only got to worry about 2 or 3 weeks into the season, and he'll be back on the IR, and I can get on with my football. I'm going to enjoy the defense, though, Mac. I'm going to enjoy the defense.
He'll stay perfectly fine. They will win games, and he will stay healthy if he just gets rid of the ball. And I bet you his coaches are saying.
Well, Max, when that happens, and we're like 6-2, and he's playing at a Pro Bowl level, I'm going to have you on so we could both make fun of Roger.
There's going to be a long line. There's a long line of people. The season's not going to be long enough, Andy. We're going to have to go every night.
We've all done a lot of talking lately, except for Ed. Ed,
I'm upset with you, Andy. I think you owe Pronky Dong an apology. As you said, some of our viewers are assholes in their comments, and I don't think Pronky Dong is an asshole at all. I think he's one of us. He gets us, and we appreciate you.
Ed, am I an asshole?
Yes.
Is Roger an asshole?
Yes.
Are you an asshole?
Probably the biggest.
So wouldn't our fans be assholes too?
Yeah, well, it just scared me for a minute because after you said that he didn't, comment, but he's back, and I'm just glad that everything's okay. That's all. Just wanna...
Oh, the miss. Well, there you go.
All right.
No, you know what, man? It's hard, Mac. Honestly, man, it's just hard for me to root for the guy. He's not likable. He's just not likable, man. He had that smug look on his face in front of the cameras, and just like, man, if he would have put his head down and just went to work when he got here, he just did the opposite, man. So he reminds me of Odell Beckham.
Matt, you did it, but there's still more alcohol.
So. Matt, can you agree with me on one thing? Before, I forgot that it was a bit. I was saying that PJ Walker gets, made fun of, and rightfully so. He's, obviously Kevin Stefanski won with him, and kudos to Kevin. But they always give Watson credit for that Indianapolis game. He was 5-1 as a starter, and we all know, yes, he did.
4-1 as a starter.
PJ Walker's throw that he made to get us in that game-winning situation, that throw in between the cornerback and the safety, that was A1. The one good throw he threw all year, that was the one that won us that game, and I just think we owe PJ Walker a little bit more respect than sometimes we give him.
PJ's going to think about that throw sitting in his rocking chair in 30 years if he's going to know that throw, man. Yeah. I mean, how couldn't you if you made that throw?
The guy balled out for this city, and it was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And it was awesome that we didn't have to continue watching it. Because
that's true. That is also true.
Yeah.
You know what? And the fact, and Max said it, Kevin Stefanski won with all 4 of those quarterbacks. All the Cleveland Browns need is a quarterback not to lose games. And if Watson stays healthy, he has the physical ability, the talent, and to not lose games. And the Cleveland Browns can win with the defense and the talent that's around them. You can. I'll concede that. Oh.
James, that was an epic post. Thank you.
But I mean, I can see that. I understand that. It's a good football team that is around him. Or any quarterback that's behind center this year for the Browns.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to Spit, Sip, Chug. It's what we do on the Dawg Chug. Let's have some fun. Ed.
Yes.
I think I sent them all to you. So
I have them. So we have Andy.
You cue it up. You.
Oh, okay. Well, our segment, Spit, Sip, Chug. Great segment, great name. We won't get into that. But, these are statements, not questions. If you do not agree with the statement, you will spit. If you are lukewarm on it, kind of agree, kind of not agree, you will sip. And if you just wholeheartedly just take that statement, love that statement, take all of that statement in, you chug. And so we'll get it kicked off with our first statement, and that statement being the Guardians did enough at the trade deadline to put them in position to win a World Series, and we will start with our guest, Mac.
So they needed a pitcher. They got a pitcher. They needed outfield help. They got help. Their new prospect. What is it? Bazana?
Bazana.
Got it?
Rosanna.
Yeah.
Bazana. Yeah.
Sure.
No, his first home run was a grand slam.
Yeah, today.
Today.
Beautiful.
I don't think that they did. Now, is it earth-shattering? No. Is it enough to move the needle? Well, they're in first place in the MLB anyway. So I'm definitely going to say Chug. They got two positions that they needed. One of their prospects is doing pretty well. So to me, they did just fine.
Wow.
Just
Andy.
fine.
Andy.
All right. Yeah, if you're sitting there complaining that we didn't make like the fucking huge move to go get like some major move. First of all, there weren't many big moves that were made this year, but if you're looking for that and you were disappointed, fuck off. We didn't mortgage the future. We got better, and I think we absolutely did what we needed to do. So I'm chugging on this. I got a little ways to go, even though it says you did it. So I'm chugging.
That's kind of misleading. You didn't do it yet, but perfect answer, Andy. Roger.
Man, I'm so glad we're talking about baseball. And I wasn't going to argue with Mac. First of all, man, I love Mac. He's got the Magnum PI mustache. I already said that. Like, if I had a genie, like in a bottle, and like gave me a wish what I would look like, it'd be Mac. I'd want to look like Mac. He looks like a fireman. So I'm glad we're talking about baseball, and I'm definitely chugging on this because they went out and got a picture that, well, I saw it today, and Bill, who was on, our buddy Bill, pointed out that he came up with our skipper, with Bo. They came up together. He was his catcher. So our manager knows him. The guy can eat innings. And everybody's forgetting about, we got Matthew Boyd also. I think our rotation is going to be in better shape. I'm not going to be saying great shape, but in better shape that we can get to the bullpen later. Maybe we get 7 innings out of the rotation. But yeah, I'm chugging on it. We went out and got a right fielder. He's going to be much better. He's he has people surrounding him in the lineup hitting too. So yeah, I'm chugging on it. What's he?
Wow.
I don't know why I'm laughing at this horrible comment. He's been making points about they're too far away from the camera.
Oh, wow.
I always wanted a talk show, and this is I got a talk show now.
Hey, Roger, it's huge. I love it. Perfect answer. I'm also going to be chugging on this statement as well, and here's why. It's not that I think any of these players are going to be like have postseason success and they're going to be like in the history books of Cleveland baseball because the Cobb guy threw a perfect game or this new Lane guy hit a epic home run. No, I don't think that at all. But what it does do for the Guardians team is gets them to October in a more advantageous position, putting out more arms, and they got a little bit more flexibility with their outfield. So not necessarily these players are going to make these dramatic plays in October, but it's going to make getting to October that much easier, and will help the Guardians in a position to win the World Series. So that is my answer. And we are moving on to statement number 2. Andy, I want to say you did a great job writing these statements, by the way. We will start with you this time. Mike Vrabel is just a great story, but won't actually provide any value to the Browns this season.
Okay, so Mike Vrabel, more than a great. Oh yeah, listen, Jesus Christ. Here's the thing about what they did. This is so great. Mike Vrabel is a huge Browns fan, which means nothing. It shouldn't mean anything, but I think it does. This is a guy with a lot of talent, great career. Was sitting on the sidelines. They brought him in. What's so amazing about it, and I think I have this right, is like the coach is so pulled in a million directions, can't give that one-on-one time that is so valuable. Having a Mike Vrabel from everything I'm seeing, he's just like going up to everyone and working and pointing out things and running and firing guys up. I don't know, having him like where he's not being pulled in a million directions, it's just so invaluable. I'm sure to the players, I'm sure to Kevin in the front office. I love it. He'll be gone in a year, and that's just fine. I think the excuse me, Cleveland Browns are going to be a lot better for him being here. Great story, but it's also going to be great value. So I'm chugging. Here we go.
Nice.
Roger?
I'm going to sip on it because he's a Buckeye. But I'm going to chug on it because today he said as a teenager he was eating dog bones, making necklaces for playoff games. So I'm chugging on Mike Vrabel being a positive for the Browns. Listen, he's a defensive coach who came up under Bill Belichick, who's working on the offensive side of the ball with Kevin Stefanski, Ken Dorsey, and the rest of the offensive coaching staff. To have a guy like that sees the game from a different perspective or from the defensive perspective probably is invaluable to that staff. And what it shows is Kevin Stefanski is a smart guy because he didn't put him on the defensive side of the ball. You know, he took him and he said, all right, let's use your skills on the offensive side of the ball. How can it be anything but a positive to have a guy from Cleveland, actually from right here in Cuyahoga Falls, and he went to Walsh Jesuit. He is a Buckeye. You know, he's from the state of Ohio. The Buckeye take points off for that. But, you know, I wouldn't have went to Michigan. Just like Deshaun didn't want to come to Cleveland. I wouldn't have went to Michigan at the time he went to college either. So he was Brady Hoke what's his name was there? Fucking Rich Rod, right? That round when Rabel was a Buckeye? Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I think it's nothing but a positive having him, you know, on the coaching staff. And like you said, Andy, he's only going to be here, you know, 1 year. I'm surprised he didn't get an offer, you know, in the off season. But I think actually, unfortunately, they won't extend Ryan Day. He's probably going to be running the Buckeyes next year. So
stop it.
Ed.
Shout out to Matt out there. Hasn't always been the nicest to me on X, but we appreciate you tuning in tonight. And so the statement obviously being Mike Vrabel providing value won't provide value. I'm going to spit on that because I think he will provide value. There's a reason they brought him in. And if that value is, I don't know, he helps Kevin Stefanski game plan. He does, I don't know, he's going to have no game day, you know, activities or duties per se, but I do think that he's going to provide them with value. I don't know if it's significant, but I mean,
I read that wrong. That wrong.
But if one play helps the season, because let's be real, NFL games are so close. If maybe he comes up with this one play and Stefanski uses it or does something, then I mean that's significant. There's a reason they got this guy there.
Yeah.
So I think that's what everybody kind of means by they really want to spit on that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a little feedback going on when you read the statement, so we got it wrong. But
we'll go to Mac, who's out. Is he throwing challenge flags or is he playing with his dog right now?
Right. He thought I was against it. I'm all for Vrabel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought I misread it because I thought it was he will not provide value.
Well, we're not good readers on it.
It's
10 o'clock. We're drinking.
Well, if the statement is he will not provide value, I will pop pid and spit on that man.
There you go.
You know, you're talking about a guy that was one of the pillars of the Patriot dynasty back in the early 2000s. He was on that undefeated team. You know, he might have not been a multi-time, you know, all-pro, but he was still one of those guys to where even when you saw him get a head coaching gig, it was like a Belichick disciple. You know, what was Belichick known for earlier in his career? A guy that even though he was the head coach, he would still strap on the pads and do an individual one-on-one with some of his guys up front. And what was Mike Vrabel doing? I mean, you know, he was wearing body vests on game day and would warm up with the big guys to make sure that they were blocking and tackling correctly. And him in a consultant role where he doesn't have to worry about game planning and all that big stuff to where he can just be one-on-one with these guys, that's perfect. a clip that I absolutely fell in love with. I've never been such an admiration at 8:30 in the morning watching a Browns training camp clip as I was when Mike Vrabel was giving pointers to David Njoku about how to run block. It's no secret the run game, and part of it was because of Nick Chubb, but the run game was awful last year. It was terrible. The Browns were one of the worst teams in the NFL when it comes to rushing on the perimeter. So what did they do?
Really?
They revamped the tight end room. They brought in a traditional fullback, something they haven't done, in 3 years. And, what's one of the things that Mike Vrabel is emphasizing on how to seal the edge, as a tight end blocking in the run. I mean, that's great. And where's Mike Vrabel spending most of his time? Can anybody tell me?
Running with Jameis Winston.
Line. He was running the scout team offensive line, one of the first days of camp before they left for Greenbrier. He's with, that second team offense, he's hanging out with Jameis Winston. But he's really emphasizing on blocking and tackling, which is the fundamental of this game. So, yeah.
My man Dan Campbell.
And what's the thing with Dan Campbell?
Kneecaps.
He's a hands-on head coach. And while he's a player's guy, he also understands that you have to get down and dirty in this game. And it's awesome to see, he has nothing but fountain worth of knowledge to give to these players. And the fact that he is just in a consulting role this season is a crime. It really is, because he's one of the best minds in football right now. It just so happened, and everybody's like, well, if he's such a knowledgeable guy, why didn't he get a head coaching gig? Well, the guy that made him such a great player in this league, Bill Belichick, was also interviewing for several different teams. And he lost out to his mentor, which is kind of messed up to think about it. But, he's only going to be here for 2 years max. He's way too good for just a positional role. Everybody knows that. But, I'm cool with it, because any day that Mike Vrabel spends inside the building is a great day for everybody, because there's so much that these guys can learn from, even the coaches.
Wow.
Love it.
Great answer. Before we get to statement number 3, can I get a OHIO Mike Vrabel? Okay.
Statement. Yeah, hang on, Sloopy, damn it.
Yeah. Sorry, Roger. Statement number 3. David Njoku will lead the Browns in receiving yards this season, and we will kick that off with Roger first.
No, I'm spitting on that. I mean, I think the Chiefs going to have, I hope the Chiefs capable of having a great year with great quarterback play. It took until Joe Flacco got here last year for the Chiefs, and he took off in just that short period of time. But with good quarterback play, I think the Chiefs going to have an excellent year, but he's not going to lead the team in receiving yards. I hope not anyway, with Amari Cooper and Judy and the young wide receivers we have in this room. We have the speedster we just drafted, right? God, I hope that he doesn't. So I'm spitting on that. I think he's going to have probably a career year, but Jesus, let's hope he doesn't lead the Browns in receiving. How about that?
Well, I'm going to sip on that. I agree. I think he's going to lead the Browns in receiving yards. No, but I'm only sipping because why can't he lead the Browns in touchdowns? Because you look at the great
I think teams, he could do that. That I would chug on.
You look at the great teams in
without
the NFL.
Nick Chubb around, I would chug on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to sip. I didn't want to spit. I actually wanted to get some fluids in me. But no, I love it, because here's the thing: Deshaun Watson needs to get a better rapport with Njoku. Flacco had it last year, but if Watson can get the same kind of rapport that Flacco had with Njoku, this team is unstoppable, because how are you going to guard the middle of the field if teams have to worry about Njoku just running down? Like Max said, I mean, one guy can't tackle him alone, so then it opens up the outside for Judy and Cooper, and then you got Elijah Moore doing his thing all over the place, being in the slot, and he can go to the center or the middle of the field, or he can go to the outside. So if you're a defensive coordinator, if Njoku can turn into what he was last year, Watson leading this team, wow, nightmare for the defense and great things. So, and I wanted to sip, but I don't think he's going to lead in receiving yards. But touchdowns, let's go Browns.
I just have to say this. That Joe Flacco rolled off his couch and had chemistry with Njoku like that. I am so tired of the building chemistry thing. Just tired of it. You know what I mean? Joe Flacco rolled in and he made Amari Cooper and David Njoku. And if DPJ was still on the roster, he got shipped out because of the bad quarterback play. Flacco would have made DPJ a damn Pro Bowler because he's a professional quarterback. That's what our wide receivers and tight ends need is a goddamn professional quarterback, and they will all go over 1,000 yards for Christ's sake. All right, I'm done.
Mac.
Now that's unfair that you bring up the Donovan Peoples-Jones thing. He's probably one of my favorite players ever, not just because he responded to one of my tweets, but just the way that he played and how he was a specialist when it comes to tight roping, that outside boundary line. I mean, some of the catches that I saw him make was crazy, but he didn't get phased out because of the quarterback play. He got phased out because they wanted to do more Elijah Moore gadget plays, and they were so hungry for a deep threat that they were just like, oh, well, Marquise Goodwin can get 2 targets a game. He's worth a spot, in the wide receiving room. But that's neither here nor there. Spit, sit, chug here. I'm going to sip for the same reason that Ed sipped, because the middle of the field is going to be open for David Njoku next year. It's plain and simple. Amari Cooper, if you put him in the slot, it's just going to be unfair. He's one of the best route runners in the league. Say what you want about Judy's ability to catch in traffic, but he's still going to get open down the field as well. Elijah Moore, yes, he'll be a slot guy, but I don't really see him being the big body because he's not a big body. So I don't see him sending him over the middle. So that leads David Njoku. Now, funny enough, we're talking about David Njoku over the middle. Last year, 48 catches, 554 yards, 4 TDs over the middle. I'm no mathematician in terms of percentages, but I would say that's pretty high of his high percentage of his production last year. So, it's going to be a big year for the Chief. It needs to be a big year for the Chief because he's going to make what this offense go. Like the fact that a target can command so much of that middle of the field is crazy. Not a lot of teams in the NFL have that. Like the 49ers, they have George Kittle and they have Deebo Samuel, 2 guys that can pick up yards after the catch in the middle. Not a lot of teams have that. I mean, hell, Baltimore doesn't have that. Well, in their tight end they do, but outside of that, the wide receiver.
And Njoku needs to find a Taylor Swift. That's what we need. Just like Kelsey, he needs to find a Taylor Swift.
I don't know about that. But, big year for David Njoku. There's definitely going to be a big role for him in this offense. And there's no reason why he shouldn't have. I don't think he's going to break 1,000, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have, over 700 yards. There's no reason why he shouldn't have at least 6 TDs because the opportunities are going to be there for him. And he's a guy, just get him the ball. It's really not that hard. Feed him on screens. Send him a dump pass over the middle. You don't have to target him 15 yards down.
We had Kevin, who somebody called him the Yakness Monster. Who was it? Casey Kinnaman, one of your guys he called him the Yakness Monster. Get him the ball. I loved it. He's coming on the show in like 2 weeks. But yeah, get Njoku the ball and let him rumble.
Beautiful.
All right.
Rightfully said, Mac. Andy.
Yeah, so, obviously everything suggests that Cooper is going to have more yards. But I'm in a spicy mood, and I think David Njoku is like, the freak that we have, sort of like Myles Garrett, and he has such a good season. And I think they understand that, like, if everything is working for the Browns, the run game, Mac, you pointed out the run game is so bad. Our offensive tackles, they all get injured. We couldn't go to the perimeter. Everyone's going to be back. The run game's good. if throwing to our receivers are good, that middle of the field is going to be. I think that's going to be like the cheat code the Browns kind of rely on this season. So I'm gonna just be a little spicy and say, yeah, I think there is a universe where David Njoku ends up leading the Browns in yardage, and if that happens, let's just start celebrating now because I'm pretty sure that means like we're going deep this year. So,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I'm chugging.
Chugging.
And we can go to statement number 4.
Statement number 4, the finale right now. Bears are a bum franchise for not playing Caleb Williams tomorrow in the Hall of Fame game. Can you guys believe football is here tomorrow? I will start with myself on this one. And yeah, they're a bum franchise. Here's why. The Browns in 1999 drafted Tim Couch number 1 overall. Yes, Ty Detmer going into the season was going to be their starter. I believe, obviously, Caleb Williams is designated to be the starter for the Bears this year. But it's a kickoff for a franchise that needs a restart after the Justin Fields experiment. And they've obviously, like the Browns, the Bears have struggled with quarterbacks over the years. And that's why, we've been a team that haven't gone to the Super Bowl, just like the Bears haven't in a while. So here's the deal. You play him and you play him for one series and it's on national TV. And I don't see if you're worried about him getting hurt in one series, he's going to play a couple series in the preseason, I would assume. So, I mean, he goes to practice, you can get hurt there. I understand, for a meaningless game, but of all the preseason games, the kickoff Hall of Fame game, one series, I don't think is meaningless to a lot of people that want to buy jerseys, want to get excited about the NFL. So I think from that standpoint, you have an obligation. I mean, obviously it's to your team and I get that, but you're part of the league as in general and to grow the sport and make it better. So yeah, you're a bum franchise of Bears. And, the first time that he goes out, you're going to be worried that he gets hurt. So, you should have played him in that, the 3 plays that you're going to hand the ball off anyway. So Bears, you're bum. The Bears, bum shit, Mac.
No, it definitely is indeed bum shit. And here's why. It's the Hall of Fame game. You're going to get a lot of national attention. It's the most famous preseason game in terms of media coverage, in terms of preparation. Why not put him out there for the first 10? The NFL uses this term scripted plays, right? It's the first 10 plays out of a game that they pre-plan the week before. They literally rehearse this in practice, the first 10 plays. So they know them inside and out. Run him for the first 10 plays. You're going to be going up against third stringers anyway. Why not build up his confidence? He needs more reps with his other rookie wide receiver, Romeo Duzier. Is it
Rome Duzier? Yeah, Rome
Duzier, sorry. He needs more chemistry with his wide receiver. It would be nice for him to process a little information because, at the end of the day, he is a rookie. He's never done this in the NFL before. So why not give him more experience? Have him run the offense, for a drive. Run the script. Yeah. Why not? What do you like? Everybody is so worried about workload and injury. He's a guy coming out of college. If he gets injured in this game, he's going to get injured down the road. And it's not really going to matter either way, right. And he needs the reps. And one of the biggest problems with Caleb Williams in college was kind of like Deshaun Watson. He liked to hold on to the ball a little bit too much. Yeah. He took dumb sacks. Yeah. He was trying to improvise too much. So why don't you just give him a structured 10-play playbook? Make him run the offense. And it's on a good stage. So if he goes out for 10 plays and balls out, against these third stringers, it's going to give him a little bit of confidence. And then that way, when you run into, the next preseason game where you're going to be playing against some starters and some second string players, you're going to have that confidence. And you're not going to, have the butterflies and possibly maybe get the yips after, because who's to say, let's just say, for example, he doesn't play in the Hall of Fame game, right? They want to put the saran wrap around him and say, okay, you're coming out next week. Don't worry about it. What happens if he comes out next week and God forbid, he has either a scary throw or he's hit big by the other team or something along that nature, and he gets a little rattled. Well, that would be his first snaps in the NFL. Hasn't done it before. So he doesn't know, like, of course, there's always a confidence with these players, right? You know, hey, I can do this. I was drafted for a reason. I'm with the best of the best. But it's one thing to think that, and it's another thing to do that and have seen it. And that's where the issue lies. So sorry for a long-winded answer, but I'm chugging here. You know, you got to give your rookie QB as much experience as you can.
Hey, you agreed with me, Max, so you take as long as you want.
Yeah, there you go.
Andy.
I mean, everything that Max said, I completely wholeheartedly agree with. Bum organization. If they're playing scared now against third stringers, he's fucked. He's already fucked. You could write Caleb Williams off. He's done. Based off that one thing, I'm chugging. That was a huge mistake. You should have let the guy get some confidence. So fuck him.
Roger.
Who are we talking about? He got drafted by the Bears, number 1 overall, right? So I'm submerged in baseball. I'm not paying attention. Tomorrow's the Hall of Fame game, you say? And they're not. Listen, the NFL, the Bears don't give a shit. It's not like, for the brand or to help the image. The NFL can go out on the Times Square and shoot somebody in broad daylight and nobody say anything. They can do whatever they want. To hold the kid back. And like you said, playing against third stringers, I don't even see stuff on my timeline about the Hall of Fame game tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's really not it's not really hyped up as much as you would think that it is. And
can I interject really quick?
Please, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson was hyping the shit out of it, but he blocked you. So,
oh, well, there you go. There you go. Him and his quarterback coach were hyping the Hall of Fame game. And wait, you landed planes over there, Mac? What's going on?
Yeah, directing a very energetic dog at the moment. That's shaped my entire apartment.
You know what? That kid should be out there playing. Ed pointed out with the Browns within the Hall of Fame game, and it's an exhibition game. Let him throw the football. I don't know, man. It's just I don't see the hype around this game tomorrow. The first time I heard it, realized that it's tomorrow was earlier today. Before tonight, and it's just I don't know.
Okay.
It's not there.
So Roger didn't realize the Hall of Fame game's going on until earlier today.
Wow.
It's a baseball season, man.
It's true.
Well, that concludes another rousing edition of Spit, Sip, Chug.
Bronk says, I don't even know why Roger likes the Browns, and he doesn't. He's not a Browns fan. He's a Lions.
Not at all.
He likes the Browns defense. It's true.
I like the Browns defense.
Wow.
All right, Mac, you're always working on the next day's tweet. How's that like? Do you kind of start working on early in the evening? How do you always come up with a great tweet in the morning?
So that one's tough. The first thing I do is I just kind of scroll through the timeline, see what everybody's saying. Because it's something that I should admit, I'm not as plugged in to local media as I should be. I don't really listen to the radio show in the morning, even though when I do listen, Ken Carman and Anthony Lima do an excellent job. I have no problem with their programming. But for me, it's just more or less, I'm looking what the headlines are. I'm looking how many days do we have till kickoff. I'm looking at, here's what the other people are saying. Is there anything that, that I could that I could conjure up, or is there anything that I'm seeing that would refute that? I let the story drag me to the fact, which drags me to my conclusion.
So in other words, you're saying the fake news does their bullshit, and then you're like, how do I refute the bullshit?
Yeah, where's the truth? Because that's what dragged me to this. Years ago, it was the day after And I kind of had it in my mind that I like wanted to start something because I, you know, being out of football in college, like I was going through film and practice every single day. And it was just like, once I graduated, all that knowledge was kind of like, okay, like what do I do with this? Right. So I thought about, putting out like my own information and everything, but where I really drew the line in the sand, it was the Browns versus Steelers Halloween game 2021, right? It was the day after, and everybody's saying that it was 100% Baker Mayfield's fault that they didn't get the game. They didn't get the job done. It wasn't anything about Odell Beckham not reaching out for a catch. It had nothing to do with the Jarvis Landry fumble on the last drive of the game. It had nothing to do with the fact that, once again, Kevin Stefanski didn't have a solution for TJ Watt. It was no other reasons. It was just the quarterback. So what did I do? I jumped in. I looked through the film. Okay, how many drop passes are there? What was on target? What was off? Things like that. So that was just kind of the process that I've had through since this whole thing, because at the end of the day, takes or hot takes and vibes and, funny memes are great. And I've put out some, good memes myself, and I've had some trolling comments here and there that I do for fun. But when it comes to talking ball, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to have the stats, you got to have the tape, and you got to be able to present some kind of concrete fact. It's like building a house, right? What happens when you build it on straw? It comes tumbling down. But if you have some concrete pillars, some things that you can actually hold on to, you got a pretty damn good house.
Nice.
I got a question. Can I? You know what? I appreciate your. I don't pay for the Cleveland Plain Dealer no more. I don't pay for the Athletic. I don't read any behind paywalls. You know why? Because I don't have to. Because I read UMac. And I read Casey and I read Jacob and I read our friends. I read the guys that I don't need to read them because I really think you guys do better work. Because you're not looking for clicks and you're not. So I see what goes into what you do now, and what I got to ask you now. And I wasn't going to have another beer. Andy, how you doing, by the way, on the beer?
Well, yeah, man, I got there. So,
are you okay? Do you have to call your sponsor, or should you just call them in the morning?
All right, what were you saying?
Well, I opened another beer because I want to ask you: is there anything that I've ever tweeted that you gathered that was like, all right, that I was involved in, that you said, okay, let's look at the facts of this and see? Let's face it, I'm a master troll. I see Facebook memories from 2011. I've been doing this on Facebook since 2000. So in my anger, as Andy likes to put it, I like to say extreme fandom. Andy says anger. Is there anything I've said that you looked at and said, hey, let's look at the facts on this?
All right, so Roger playing the role of Ed by saying, hey, what about me? Talk about me.
Andy, it's like you're in my mind. I was going to say
know.
Roger's pulling an Ed. He's pulling an
Ed. Because my rants have no facts whatsoever. My rants will have no facts.
It's sitting there saying oh God, I wonder what Roger tweeted tonight. Have you seen anything that made you think, hey, he's spitting fake news out there just like Mary Kay when what did Mary Kay do? Oh, she fell in love with Joe Flacco.
Well, one thing, and Roger, I'm not sure if you tweeted it or you were just on the thread, but it was one of the handles that I was responding to. It was talking about Watson's second half, right? Because everybody's like, oh, well, it's easy to go 14 for 14, when you're not pushing the ball downfield. Well, if you actually look at one of the quarterbacks that was at the lower bottom part of the league, in terms of yards per attempt, it was guys like Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, two guys that played in the Super Bowl last year. And why? Because they were taking what the defense gave them.
Fake news.
I don't.
Fake news.
And another thing is, and I'm not saying this, to be a holier than thou person, but the reason why I put my stuff out there, and the reason why I'm so focused on facts, is because I think there's a lot of times where we're too now. I don't want to touch on what was going on before he got here, but one thing that really sat with me when I was growing up, and I was bringing it up earlier, but we got kind of like lost and stuff. Tim Couch was interviewed after a game against the Ravens. I'm not sure if it was a Monday night game.
It was a Sunday night game. He got
It was
hit.
a Sunday night
He got
game.
concussed and he started crying. And it was, yes, I remember that game.
Well, he didn't know where he was at.
Yeah.
And their first response in the media was just immediately slam him and be like, "Oh, well, he's an idiot. He can't be a starting quarterback." And you saw that when Baker got injured. And then you even saw that when Watson got injured. And so for my whole thing is that I'm just trying to put out information and just make sure that we're as accurate as possible while still being realistic about the game, because it's great, to see a guy light it up, but a guy can have lower level stats and still have a great season. Look at Lamar Jackson last year. For as much crap that I give that man as a player, he kind of had average stats, but he was efficient. And that's what matters in today's game. So don't think about the totals. Think about the per attempts. Think about the per catch. Think about the per rush. That's what makes these players so great. And, when they're winning games at the end of the season, if I told you, do you really care about receiving yards total if the Browns won 2 playoff games?
Depends on my fantasy.
No.
You wouldn't give a shit. You wouldn't care. You'd be like, hey, Cleveland's winning. So, the last thing I want to do is one of the only things that I'll ever criticize a player for is effort and attitude. And I've stayed true to that the past couple seasons. I've been a little bit harsh on PJ Walker. But hey, I'll admit that, and he still won the Browns 2 games. So,
you know what? I'm going to say this, and all kidding aside, and the guys that if Mac puts out something about Deshaun Watson, I like it and retweet it because I know Mac put work into it. I know it's not emotions. I know he don't have ulterior motives, and the same thing holds true for any of the guys that I respect, because I know it's a football opinion. And doesn't have anything to do with anything else other than football. You know what I mean? So I would never get on one of Mac's threads and start trolling somebody. I just troll the cucks, because I know that Mac puts in the work, and guys like him, and all the guys that I read. So I'm 100%. Man, I don't hate the Cleveland Browns. It's just it's hard to root for somebody that you don't like. And I've really, we've had bums that you didn't care. You knew they were bums. You know what I mean? And you rooted for the Spurgeon wins because you knew we were going to win 3 games. I don't know.
Andy, let's take a vote. I say Roger hates the Browns.
Here's what I'll say. No, I don't think he hates the Browns. And Roger, I hate to discuss your age here, but I'm pretty sure that you're in the same generation as my dad. And,
we're frustrated, man. We're frustrated.
He's seen some crazy stuff happen with this organization, so it's really hard for him to accept some positivity. I mean, even when we were going on that run with Flacco, I love my dad to death.
How old's Pop? How old is he?
He's turning 63 in October.
I'm a little younger, but we're the same generation. We saw the same football. And
it was just like it's so hard for him to be positive sometimes because he needs to see it on the scoreboard before he says anything. He's the guy to where he will not change the channel until he sees the final score off of that. And even then, he's got to stand up, take a breather, and grab another beer.
It's a good
And
American.
calm down a
That's a
little
good
bit,
American,
you know?
Mac. It's a good American.
Here, here.
So I wouldn't say that you hate the Browns, Raj. I would just say that you need to see it on the scoreboard first, which, to be fair, I think we all need to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, after this
That's
giant
frustrating.
transaction, you know, and this big shift that the Browns made, you know, 2 years ago, we need to see it on paper in a bigger sample size than what we have. And I think we will. I think we will. I think truly that this is the year, and I'm not saying, oh, this is the year that they go on a run, but the stars are aligning here. You know, you have your entire defense back. They upgraded the offense. They have a surplus now of offensive tackles, which is amazing to have.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised
And
if somebody
quarterbacks.
ended up getting traded. But yeah, and they're pretty deep in the QB room. I mean, the QB room is not what it was last year. I will say that, and no offense to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but he was thrown in the fire. He wasn't ready, flat. But you have a guy like Jameis Winston, to where, and am I a personal fan of his game? And do I think that he's a little bit childish, a little bit too run and gun? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's still a stable starting quarterback, and you can win with him. And he's shown you that. So this
Just don't
is
ask
the
him
year
to win your football games. Right.
He just said you can win with him, but okay.
Yeah.
Right. You can. Yeah. But you don't want to put Jameis Winston in a position to keep winning football games, because it'll end up like Joe Flacco throwing 3 picks in a row. You know?
Sure. All right. Sorry, we butchered you. Finish. Mac.
What?
You were sorry,
Oh,
we both interrupted
Sorry.
your
yeah.
your thoughts.
Yeah. So I mean, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year to where they're going to show some sustained success, and I think it's going to be a great year to be a Browns fan. It really is. You know,
Great year
and
to be
of
an
course,
anti-Roger First and Cuyahoga Falls fan.
yeah.
Which I am.
Knock on wood. I hope that there's no injuries this year, because we have an extreme deep roster. And you know what the exciting part about training camp with these guys is there's so many talented players, but only 53 can make the roster.
53.
Yeah.
Do you have in 54 if we have an international player, right? Can't we stash an international player and bring him on the
I
roster?
believe it's still 53.
All right. Do you have a tweet you're working on for tomorrow?
No, because I was super procrastinating an article that I had to get to my editor.
All right.
And I actually fired that off 15 minutes before I got on here.
Well, if you
Why I was running
do
late.
want to come up with a tweet, just tweet about how Roger's an idiot, because that plays really well.
Wow. Roger. You know what's funny? You don't even dress the dress code, Andy, and you're calling out Roger.
Right.
How am I not dressing the dress code?
No, you're not. You don't.
Because, there's a dress code implemented.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Just because you assholes started wearing ties doesn't mean
Trunky
the
Dong wears them too.
No.
This is an anti-tie.
I'm just saying, who's the only one without a Browns hat on?
I'm wearing Browns hat.
No, Roger.
Roger, yeah. And I've got a Browns shirt on.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
all right.
baseball
All right, so Ed,
season.
Roger made me say it, Andy. I didn't want to. He's the one pushing it.
Ed, you're banned next week. You're not going to be able to appear when we have Jacob on.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, this has been an excellent episode of the Dawg Chug. I think so. I think we had some great discussion. I'm excited more for the Brown season than I've ever been. And I'm also excited for the Guardian season.
You know what? Matt got me excited about it a little bit.
Yeah,
He
for
did.
the defense.
What does your dog predict, Mac? What does your dog predict for the season?
Well, he's predicting a lot of barking.
Okay.
That's what he's predicting.
Okay.
All right. We're going to get a lot of barking from Mac's dog. And with that, I think this has been one of my favorite episodes of Dawg Chug, like in the top 100 at least. Drink if you got them. Go Browns. Go Guards. Go Indians.
One quick second. Here's a good way to end it. Hey, right here. Here we go, Browns. Here we go.
Nice.
He knows he's on camera.